it's just a spate of bad luck for the Rigiji. Mm-hmm. For the last 2 Sundays, he has attended services which ended up being presided over by Jackson Ole Sapit. Yeah. And during each occasion, politicians have been denied an opportunity to address the congregation. Yeah. Well, this I think is not a bad thing to happen, is it?
Well, first I must speak for all politicians, so-called politicians, because they're not all politicians, singularly as a group, because everybody who participates in a political system and political affairs is a politician, because you must adhere to the rules. You must be an adherent. If you participate in the election, then the one who's been voted in must have been voted in by somebody else to complete the puzzle. So this thing of considering ourselves a bit holier than thou is what's killing this whole thing, because it's a kind of
considering themselves
is a kind of hypocrisy. Where
really?
Yeah, because you see, when it comes to the issue of money, which has always been there as a bondage to anyone, even during those days of Christ and even prior to that, I think the church also needs to do some bit of soul searching. You don't say you don't care from where the money comes from, what the money is for, or for anything about that money. Yes. All you care about is that let it come, but in silence. Money, like I said last time, should not be promulgated. That's in Matthew chapter 1 to chapter 6, verse 1 to around 4, 5 there. Yes. And it ends up calling those who hype for themselves as hypocrites.
Those who declare.
The Bible says those who trumpet for themselves. Don't sound the trumpet. If you do so, there's no reward from God.
You've already received your reward.
Let me read for you. It's always good to be factual.
Yes.
Take heed that you do not offer alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise, you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven.
Meaning, the moment you're trumpeting, nimeleta hapa, that's the most you're going to receive.
You'll be downtrodden others. You'll be suppressing others. Who don't have, but have a spirit of giving. Because giving is a spirit, a good spirit from God. And that's why I'll give you an example of the woman who gave less, but gave out of her heart, gave out of sacrifice. Then there are others who gave out of abundance. Yes. Now, when even taking an example of what has been in the airwaves regarding the president and what he's trying to justify, is that giving 20 million is out of abundance. Yes. And there's somebody else who forfeited lunch yesterday and convinced her family, small children, that I need to give to God so that God can bless us. So sisi tutakula jioni. Those are the kind of people who are in such congregation.
Wacha nitoe hii jacket.
Yeah, feel free. Then all of a sudden, you begin to trumpet for what you're giving and justifying. Yes. You will do so to men, but not to God. Because the Bible says, such do not have a reward. Therefore, when you do your alms, that is, when you do your offerings, do not sound a trumpet before yourself, that is, before thee, as the hypocrites do in synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. Okay?
Yes.
So whatever you do, just do it with humility.
Yes.
Knowing too well that if you're doing it, then do it unto God. You get the point?
Yes.
Now, if the preacher, the shepherd, does not know that there's some sheep amongst his flock that are weak, and so he deserves his protection, then the priest...
Protection from who?
Protection from such offenses. You know, it
From people who are coming to
absolutely
announce this
when you announce this and that, and then you come and crown it as the blessing, the person who has given less as a sacrifice, or is about to give less as a sacrifice, out of worship now, that person will feel offended.
Yes.
You get the point? And the place to
Because
do,
it will be like, hey, this guy, you guys are giving millions, I only have 20.
and it's like the God we are serving is very unfair. Then the one who is supposed to protect the weak flock, like Jesus Christ, gives an example in carrying in his own arms the weak sheep amongst the ones in the flock.
Yes.
That's how a priest is supposed to do. He understands. He knows that one will not get to the, will not get home. So let me help it. It's the same thing. The priest, the head of the flock, that is the shepherd, the pastor, whatever they call them in other religions, a father, whoever, you know, those leaders, they're supposed to know their flock and protect them.
So basically, what Sapit has done is the right thing. You come, if you have to give offerings, you give your offerings silently. But we are not going to give you an opportunity on this pulpit.
Same mouth criticizes them as men who hold wealth and riches out of corruption.
What do you mean?
Same priesthood.
Yes.
Condemn the politicians and say, that's what I'm trying to say. Please don't call them politicians.
Yes.
Just talk about thieves if you're talking about thieves. Because anyone who is corrupt is somebody who has stolen from the public. And if you're trying to Christianize it, you will call him a corrupt person than a thief.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
because that's the identity of somebody who possesses somebody else, takes somebody else's possession by force. So it's the same thing. So what you're trying to say is that the church should have done some bit of soul searching and say, well, we are the ones who allowed the pulpit to be misused. If it has been misused for real, and I know it has been misused by some politicians, so-called politicians. Now, on that note, the best thing I'm supposed to do to regain to regain the sanctity and to get back to the original right path that they've been walking in, is to repent. But you see, because of our individual egocentric mentality, selfish mentality, and we always feel that we are not the ones who are supposed, to back down in any way. Because one, we have already declared ourselves holy. Get my point? But according to Christ, when he died, the veil was torn. Anybody has access to see the Holy of Holies and get to God. So this mediation thing, the priesthood that set itself there, it's we who are setting the standards, is something that has been abused. And that is why when they speak wrongly, when they act wrongly, acting wrongly is not really going to the bars to drink, is even allowing some of your flock to get offended, to get injured in the process, I had a story one day of a bishop who said that I want to shift my church from this one that is next to the slums and open a branch in town where I'll be preaching, because it seems I'm losing most of my rich guys. I'm losing most of the rich guys who've been attending church here because of the poor guys. Yet the poor guys are the ones who actually took you to where you are right now. They walked with you. And this is what happens. Once wealth gets in, there are people who tend to forget God. So they replace God with wealth. And that's why everybody right now is scampering to get to whatever His Excellency the President has. And since there are others who are rejecting, the others who are now welcoming it, let us
if you were a pastor and the president has come and has given money to the church, would you take it?
The motive. like I said,
You
the
have
motive,
absolutely no way of knowing what his motive
the
is.
motive must be very right.
How will you
There is
know
one-
the motive is right?
The Holy Spirit knows the motive of every soul.
Very true, but not every person easily hears what the Spirit of God is saying. He has come, he's given his money. You
see-
tell him, mtukufurahi hiyo pesa, rudi nayo.
Hiyo rudi nayo. Hiya leo, hiyo rudi nayo.
You'll tell him that?
Yeah, why shouldn't I? Because if there is some doubt in me that this money is not right, then why should you mix it with what you're calling the right worship money? And I'm not saying that money is dirty.
Yes.
I'm only
Because you don't know.
God blesses each one of us differently. Because there are others who are some are wealthy, others are poor. You know, this is the reality.
You don't
This is
even
the reality.
know. You don't even know the money you're calling holy, whatever.
You
amount
don't
is
know
there,
from where it came from,
You don't know
really.
where it came from.
Yes, you just leave God to guide you and help you, the one who understands which soul gave how and where. I don't mean anyone who gives less is holy.
Yes.
No.
Kwanza,
I don't mean
pata shida.
you could be facing a grim struggle, a grim pain. So what we are saying is that at this time, this is not, the kind of judgment that we are supposed to make is if we hearken to the voice of the Spirit. He speaks to us first, before even the devil speaks to us or before he even speaks to our souls. We ourselves, my spirit speaks to my soul. Before he does that, the Spirit of God speaks. So
Now,
if you are alert, then
yes.
that's it.
These
These
are
are spiritual
make
matters.
it.
These are
Yes.
spiritual matters.
All life is spiritual, right?
All life is spiritual.
Now,
And spiritual matters are spiritually discerned.
yes. So let's switch the gear a little bit. President William Ruto is preparing to go to Central Kenya, which has now become such a strong backyard for former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. By impeaching him, I think gave him a lot of traction on the ground. But at the same time, there is a group there that, for the last, I think, is it two times,
Yeah.
have disrupted Rigath's function. And I'm talking about the Mungiki.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what is the president expected to get on the ground in Mount Kenya?
There is a strategy, a tactic that is used of divide and rule. Within the community of the Mount Kenya people, it was believed that the group called the Mungiki could have had a hand in disrupting,
Yes.
that event yesterday. And going back to history, I remember there was a time when they had met in Limuru and sought to support the agenda Rigathi Gachagua was carrying at that, had at that time.
They being who?
Yes, the Mungikis.
Oh, okay.
Led by their leader, Maina Njenga. So they actually swore that they would support any agenda that is good for the Mount Kenya people, led by Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah.
That was then. But the fallout came recently, I think around
There's
February.
actually a fallout.
Yes, there was a declaration by the leader that that there's no he's actually supporting His Excellency President William Ruto. So when you hear somebody say I'm supporting so and so,
Yes.
and you're a group leader, definitely you have a following that goes with you to that side. So what is happening is that this is a politics of 2027, and of course there will be some rivalry in Mount Kenya. The unfortunate bit is that the weakness that every human suffers is anything that comes with money and such. And this is what is happening currently.
So
Also-
there's a lot of money that is being poured in
A
Central
lot of
to
money.
disrupt things that have to do
lot
with
of
the
money.
deputy president.
A lot of money has to be used. The other day, even over social media, you could hear some young men saying, "No, we expected this amount, and we are getting this. We are getting far less than what we were promised." And this some of the things maybe they were it's just propaganda, but they spoke about it public, because not about social media platforms. These are public space. So what I'm trying to say is that. Again, strategically, if I want to wash my hands of your business and affairs, I will start up the peace that is there.
Yes.
And ensure that now you've given me good reason why I should focus on other regions of the nation, of the country. So it also could be a president's strategy. You saw the other day that there were some goons who used to come after the president.
I saw that.
If you tell me, unless the intelligence and the intelligence in the police, the DCI, the NIS, they are sleeping, they cannot advise. They didn't know that there was such a group in existence, and would carry out their thing until, their menace for hours. And before the intervention of the police, then it tells you something is not going right. And if it's not going right, maybe it's cooked somewhere very high. So because it seems it's like the police, the hands are tied. We cannot move until we allow this something to take effect. Then we can be able now to come and disperse the crowd. Because even yesterday, they ought to have known. They always know that there is a crowd planning. They always know that there is a crowd that has arrived that seems to have some some motives, sinister motives. And so that's why I'm saying that this is something that is to be blamed on the security. So that kind of lapse that we're experiencing right now may be biting regarding Gachagua. Now, but eventually, if it continues and take roots in the security organs, then I don't know how again they're going to deal with it.
Let me ask you something, because this is so critical. What happens? What are the dangers that that region and the country as a whole is exposed to when, if you claim that these guys are being given money to be able to do whatever it is they're doing, once the campaign ends? How do you satisfy these guys? Because they now become an amorphous government that is being used by government tools, per se, in quotes. How do you satisfy this mongrel when the time comes and there's no politics, so people are not going around campaigning, so these guys are not getting money?
Step number one is to shut them down.
How do you shut them down?
Sometimes it turns lethal.
It turns lethal.
Sometimes it turns lethal to shut them down, because you're dealing with a very serious security risk. Because they have been exposed to security systems. So for you to discourage them from doing this, you have to deal with them thoroughly. And this is the kind of thing that happens. Anytime you know that somebody can be used by another group, the kind of force that they have when you used them. So definitely you would like similar force to be meted against you. So the best thing to do is to ensure that nobody uses them. So the best way you can deal with it is to try and make the group extinct, or somehow deplete their powers. In some ways, you just have to find a way. Either compromising, that's one way. You compromise the leadership. Compromise the leadership. The leadership convinces them. If maybe like a following like such, which takes some form of spiritual connotation, it becomes they actually become like adherents who have nothing to say for themselves, lest they're being told that this is how we should be and this is the course we are taking. So it's a turnaround. So if we turn around if the priest is compromised, then the whole flock will be compromised. After elections, just the way what do you call it? An elect deals with a personal assistant or deals with the chief campaigners, because they deal with them big blow. Not all of them carry with them the people who help them get there, lest they think of running for the same seat that you are in. So to kill the campaign, to kill their influence, the best thing is to do away with them. Many other things that would frustrate these guys and keep them, aloof.
Do you see President William Ruto making inroads into Mount Kenya region?
One thing we should understand is that the president is the head of state, he's the head of government, he's the leader of all Kenyans right now, constitutionally. And he has a right to be everywhere, anywhere, anytime.
Yes.
Without anybody's consent.
Yes. But you and I know that the reason why he's going there is to try and woo the Mount Kenya voters. Do you see him succeeding?
Succeeding in wooing the Mount Kenya voters back to his fold, I think it's going to be a Herculean task because the betrayal really dug into their nerves.
Yes.
And I don't know how he's going to deal with that up to the run-up of to 2027 elections. That's going to be a bit tricky for him. So I believe that he might gain some little support from Mount Kenya. Because of course, like I told you, in politics, I don't want to call it bribe. Yes. Of course it's bribe. They call it facilitation. Facilitation will be met. So I believe the president is going to have quite colossal sums, going to the Mount Kenya politics. And there are some who are positioning themselves. So they can be able
to take advantage of be declared governor, senior.
Not even be declared. Mount Kenya shall be elections, and it's according to what the people shall choose to, whoever the people shall choose to elect, and that's how it works. What's there is that there are people are positioning themselves to be the ones to dish out the money that will be coming from the top office. Because that favor, the people who actually running for this money today as we speak.
Yes.
In politics, they say tuko na kajikoni ketu, So there are guys who are preparing to go and feed of what's being presented by the supportive members of parliament, and this is what is happening. And they can even come to the field, feel it, and then walk away, or these kind of things. We've seen such things happening before, after they have received, like what happened at Karen.
Yes.
After everything was said and done, they began Ruto must go. This is the kind of politics, and this is where it is. If I was to advise the president, I think I would not move in that via that path. And that there's something I'm contending over.
It kind of looks and feels that majority of the people who are chanting Ruto must go are young people. I remember seeing them chant the same thing yesterday during the Harambee Stars march.
Yeah, message is very clear. I told you there's a block called the youth, which is now the young generation, the Gen Zs. And I'm not saying that everyone who was in the studio was within that bracket, but young people below 40, they're the ones who are chanting this.
Below 40.
Below 40.
They're so passionate about it.
They're passionate about it, and they're so real. If you now join this with what happened in Kisii against Raila Odinga, then you'll understand what is happening in the country.
Now, if you look at these two, on one side you have Raila Odinga, on the other side you have Rigiji, then you have Uhuru Kenyatta has not yet declared where he's going to go. If Uhuru decides to support Raila Odinga or to support William Ruto by virtue of Raila Odinga, does Uhuru hold the Mount Kenya in a silver platter?
No.
Is he still the kingpin of Mount Kenya?
Uhuru has no influence currently, much influence to become the kingpin. The politics that had been peddled was trying to ensure that Uhuru Kenyatta does not play that rivalry politics against Rigathi Gachagua, because Rigathi Gachagua is about the larger masses of Mount Kenya. So if he comes with that one, the 1%, 10% he had last time might end up being zero. If he goes to this other side. And like you're seeing, there's a group.
What if he plays the Rigathi Gachagua calendar? and decides he's going to support them.
The day he shall support Rigathi Gachagua openly, that shall be the end of Mount Kenya for William Ruto.
They'll lock him out completely.
Lock him out 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
So, with all humility, Rigathi Gachagua is trying as much to woo Uhuru Kenyatta, entice him with all manner of words and promises for real, which is what the people of Mount Kenya are saying. Uhuru Kenyatta, please come join this guy, or let this guy join you. But let this guy who is now holding the masses, wacha endelee na hii kazi. Because you see, him as a retired head of state, we wouldn't expect him to be running up and down, politicking. But I think when he has somebody like Rigathi Gachagua running up and down doing the Mount Kenya politics, then that way he will have become, will have become now the kingpin that he would wish to be.
That will build Gachagua more than...
Definitely, in any event, even in corporate, passing on the baton, you must groom the person.
Yes.
You know, and Rigathi Gachagua is not being groomed to become president, but
he's not being groomed to become president.
He is groomed to become a voice for the Mount Kenya.
Not president.
A voice.
Yeah.
Yes, a voice for Mount Kenya. That he speaks, Mount Kenya has spoken.
Now you know the strangest thing, so that you know just how the world is working crazy. I discovered that Donald means leader of the world. Vladimir means ruler of the world. And then this Ukrainian guy, Zelensky, his first name also means ruler of the world. So it is so amazing. I looked at it and I went, oh my goodness.
I'm shocked to hear that.
Yes, but I actually checked it out. Even if you check there, you Google it there, so that just in case people think what I'm saying, Donald, ruler of the world.
Zelensky, ruler.
Zelensky, his first name, ruler of the world. Vladimir Putin, ruler of the world. And the ruler of the world, Vladimir Putin, means the way of the leader of the world. Zelensky is leader of the world.
Yeah.
And then Donald is the leader of the world.
Yes.
And this new prime minister for UK, is called Maya or something. His name stands for the dark star.
Yeah.
As in, I looked at it and I thought, oh my goodness, maybe we need to start finding out the names of some of our leaders, what they really mean, because the kind of mess and confusion that we see most of the time when they are around, I would like to know what Raila means, Ruto, and Gachagua. You've been a politician. Because what is the meaning of Gachagua, and you're a Kikuyu?
Well, I don't know the actual meaning, but I think I'll do a research on that one.
Yes.
Researching on Ruto, that one I'm not clear. But Raila, that one I heard from Luos that it means mwana msumbufu. It's like Kegia in Kikuyu. You know, the way you call Kegia.
Oh, no.
Kegia, Kagia, you know, Magia, mtu wa sumbufu, you know. Okay, I'm not so well conversant with this, but the reality is that they say is
if you know what those names mean,
but that came after him being he's a Molo Odinga, but the Raila thing, that one was.
Let me, as you're speaking, just Google.
But I'll dig out to see what Gachagua is. And,
because I think also
Rigathi is a Caesar that cuts, you know.
Rigathi
is a Caesar. He's a Caesar. He's a big Caesar. That you know, Caesars are for cutting.
You know.
So the Gachagua, I don't know the father, but the word Rigathi. Rigathi, Kagathi, Igathe. You know, Igathe is in the middle.
Yes.
It's like mine Moito, Kunageito, you know.
Yes.
So Rigathi is ni makasi kubwa. And I think some of these things, some of the names, they resonate with the character or the characteristics of a
Hence
person.
the reason why, as a people, we now need to start being very concerned about people's names. What is the name of Karoa?
If the Karoa in the other side of Mount Kenya, not Kirinyaga, could be having a different meaning, but Karoa inaweza kuwa ni kangozi, kaskin, hide, you know, a small hide, a small skin.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a small hide.
Karoa is a small hide.
Skin is a roa.
Yes.
So Karoa ni kadogo, roa is the middle, then Kiroa, you know.
Yeah, because when you might be shocked when you look at the names of these people.
Yeah.
We may be living out through. If Raila's name is the troublesome one, oh my Lord.
That's what I heard from the guys from the Luo community. That's what it means. Maybe it was political. Maybe they knew where I mean then
Yes.
my stand, because I learned this early 2000.
Yes.
So you never know. Maybe it could be just propaganda. But I think from the Luos they know it better. But this is what I heard. So we have a Kigia, Kagia, you know, Magia. Those are the things.
This is
Yani sumbua.
Atisumbua.
In Swahili, that is what it means. So if that's what it means, then that's what it is. But now back to Putin and Vladimir and also Donald.
I've seen. It means one who is alert or spirited.
What kind of spirit?
I don't know, as in full of energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, energy can be channeled correctly and wrongly. Both ways can work with someone. So that is where now some bit of expounding is supposed to take place. Yeah. Anyway, away from that one, I think you brought in a very good thing about the leadership of the world.
Yes.
Of course, it's very important.
Yeah.
We're getting so close.
We're
getting so close to the end times.
Yes.
And somebody was.
I don't think that those names mean that way by happenstance.
No.
And it's so unique that at a time like this, we have three key presidents, global, and all of them causing problem.
Yeah.
And all of them called leaders of the world.
Yeah.
So it just shows us, because I know God has never named anyone a name that didn't have a meaning or did not project what they were here to do.
Yeah. A name bears your character.
Yes.
Yeah. So the way your characteristics are actually defined in the name, in the name that you bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? This is so serious.
So you'll see somebody called Mureithi is more a shepherd.
Mureithi is a shepherd.
Mureithi is a shepherd.
Yes.
And when we were trying to explain how careful a shepherd is for his flock, these are the kind of things sometimes we consider. That a shepherd is somebody who takes care of the flock, and with a lot of love, a lot of compassion, and he is a person who gives out his life for his flock. Yes. To defend it. Yes. And that's what happens. So that's a kind of a person they call.
So we should look for a Mureithi for president.
For president, you should look for Mureithi. I think.
What does Mwai mean?
Mwai, I don't know. Mwai, I don't know. That one, I don't know.
Because all of a sudden, when I saw that, I became very interested.
It's a Kikuyu name. It's a Kikuyu word, but I don't know the actual meaning.
Yes.
Yeah.
I became so alert and so aware of the fact that names, we can probably just look at the name of somebody and just know this one is going to bring us into trouble.
Yeah. So sometimes it works like that.
Yes. If we ever get to campaigns and there's a president called Tabu, please don't vote for him. Because that's problems.
Yeah.
That's pure problems.
So, the power of a name. When Nyakimincha, that school
Yes.
was called Nyakimincha, and they decided to change that name.
Yes.
Do you know the school improved the next year during Matiang'i's time? The
Because-
next year, we no longer hear of Nyakimincha, the least of all. Hence, since that time. The change of the name Kiagoma.
There's a school
In Nyeri.
that was called Kiagoma.
Yeah, and it was given saying so and so. That school, the character change, no strikes have been heard from that school again, ever. But when
But
you
they
call
changed the name from Kiagoma. By the way, Kiagoma means mwendazimu.
kwa shetani,
Oh,
Kwa.
yo. Mama Kaya, ye mtoto wa nyuki. Eish.
kwa shetani.
Eh.
So how do you
name
talk
a
like that?
school
Ama kwa mapepo. When you call
And
the school like
parents
that,
take their children
yeah, it was bad, but it changed. It changed, even character changed. You never hear of that school striking, because it used to be one of the schools that we used to know that strikes are now
my
on.
goodness.
When you heard Kiangoma has gone on strike, you will hear Kirimara has gone on strike, you will hear Dhongoma has gone on strike, you will hear such schools. They had to be mentioned. And you see, some of these names, sometimes they bear something. We need to we need to think about it. A small school like where I went to, called Gadera High School, is Godera, is just Safi.
Gadera
Oh,
is
no strikes, no nothing, no stories, no history, no nothing. We just there.
I saw a school.
There's a name.
I don't know which part of Mombasa Road as you head to Mombasa. There is a school called Kalulu.
Yeah.
Now, I sat as I was driving and I was asking my wife, how in the world do you name your school Kalulu? Kalulu has nothing to do with intellectual.
Yeah.
He's not an intellect. He's a
Akajuka Kalulu.
Jua Kalulu. How do you name a school Kalulu? Nice.
So this is what's happening. So a name, there's a lot in a name.
Yes.
Good.
All right. I think we're going to bring down the curtains on the show. Remember, whatever happens,
Yeah.
Raila is going to Central Kenya, campaigns. Maintain peace. Let us show the world that we are very peaceful and mature people. That we can accommodate people who are not from the region, who are not from our side, into the place. I know there was talks that the NIS did a research and they discovered that if Raila would give the opposition the leader of majority, they would show him out nature situation, and that's the reason why he's not given that out. Maybe just briefly you can touch on that, and then I bring the curtains down.
Touching on Raila Odinga and Ruto's relationship. Raila Odinga should begin his campaigns for William Ruto. But there are lots of things they need to consummate before he's able to freely move out for full-blown to support William Ruto. And you see, with what you've heard from the NSIS warning, is that NSIS is privy to the court ruling that we alluded here a while ago, that that's one of the aces that Raila Odinga is holding against William Ruto. So they have gone for the committees, or William Ruto has decided, let me give them the committees so fast, quickly, before they think about taking over Parliament as majority. The only thing that betrays Raila Odinga is because he never went there as Azimio, he went there as ODM. So it leaves Jubilee aside, it leaves ODMK aside, who are part of Azimio.
And even Wiper.
And that's what we call ODMK, Wiper. So it's only Martha Karua who had already, left the divorced Azimio coalition. So they would have gone as Azimio coalition because the court ruled in favor of Azimio, not in favor of ODM. So that again becomes an ace that he's sitting on, because just pulling a few of members of the Jubilee into government, like what you have now, the Kanini Kegas, what do you call them, the guys who came in later, who could have been Jubilee. That's something that he's going to ride on, but eventually he's going to drop the ace for parliament takeover. Because he's not there to be ruled and controlled and micromanaged by His Excellency the President. One, remember the first batch of expatriates or brought or imported from ODM. No, they call them experts.
Yes.
Yeah, who are supposed to help the president. No, I'm not the one who called them so.
Yes.
Even the president needed these people to help him govern. Like, you know, Pio Andai, his nephew, and Jacob and this
that one had to come in.
Right, that has to be there, you know, because, you know, if he, you know, he claims to how to hold the image of the nation. I don't know why he has to carry a member of the family in every batch that he he presents. The second one went with Oburu Odinga, had to be somewhere, you know. This is Raila Odinga for you, and that's what he does. If you accuse him of nepotism, then he'll be guilty as charged. But that's how the politics are. Right now, the relationship between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga, that's a marriage of convenience. And Raila Odinga is not out of Kenyan local politics, and is not out of the race, presidential race. Yes.
He may just declare that he will run.
Take it to the bank. Raila Odinga will run in 2027. And that's why the opposition, the current opposition that is there, is only inviting him out. He's not inviting them into his fold, their fold. Not really into their fold. But he's inviting him out, because if he comes into the out of government, because if he comes into their fold, he will still demand to be the king, the main guy. And they know that. So definitely they might not really have him so close. So we have that one. We have the IEBC issue that is coming out, the vetting for the chairperson. Yes. That means registration of Neni is going to take place maybe as soon as maybe August around there. Maybe such a process is going to begin. And so we have a lot. Harambee Stars is out of World Cup race, would be or could be out of World Cup race, because beating Gabon with more than, you know, three goals, or around more than 2 goals,
and Gabon will be at home
at their home ground. That's going to be going to be tough. But I must say that Kenyan football has actually improved. The only problem we have is a very, very evil mentality that we have to import a foreign coach when you're about to get to the climax. Yet, getting close to the climax has been local coaches. You know?
Because they brought him towards the tail end.
I remember the day we were supposed to qualify for World Cup, and we had a match with Namibia at Windhoek. And all of a sudden, I think we had Antoine Hey brought in and replaced Francis Kimanzi. Francis Kimanzi, who had taken us as high in the FIFA ranking to number 65, I think 65, 68. Yes. Now we are still out there battling with Somalia. You know, these kind of things. Countries that don't even have a stadium. You know,
countries whose names should not be said at the same time.
It's so sad.
In the same sentence.
Yes. After Kimanzi has formed a team, then you go for the South African coach, international player. We have our own international players. Yes. The problem with us Kenyans is that we don't believe in ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. You know, save for maybe coaches. Coaches also ought to develop a mentality that is meant for winning. You see, what we have in the minds of Kenyan women coaches is that we are not going there to participate. We're going there to win. This is the thing that has killed volleyball, which have played.
Maybe
I mean, the competitive
and have them as the coaches of the national.
With this understanding, having been in sports, competitive volleyball in the 90s, they used to say that in Kenya, we have a team that goes for Cup of Nations.
Yes.
This thing of, tunataka kwanza turuke first round. We want only to beat the first team. We want to obtain at least 3 points. What's that? Stay at home. If you're not going there, if you're going to World Cup, to Africa Cup of Nations, to just win 3 points, you'd rather stay here. You're supposed to eye the trophy. That's a very rotten mentality. That is in a sport coaching mentality. These are the kind of things that we need to root out, because confidence must be inculcated in the coaches. They should believe in themselves. Yes. It's not like one time we had a coach who took us to Morocco, and a press conference is done at the airport, and he says, wajua Morocco ni wabaya sana. Pengine tunaomba tu wasitupige mechi bao kama 5. That was Tuahir Muhyiddin. You don't say like that, my friend. Why are you going? And you're the coach of a team. Now, when you say that, it's not right. What I'm saying is that our problem is in the federations, and our coaching should change. I think they should have some lessons to shape up the mind towards victory and winning.
Okay.
And the only way to do that, get out of the Premier Leagues. You just bet, get the money, but please, your allegiance, your support as Kenyans, let it remain on our national team. That's why we are always on our foreign players, Kulia Kina Olunga, and where we love them. And we should now develop our interest on local football. That's the only way to do that. But you cannot be better coaches than Jose Mourinho before a screen, and you cannot coach your own child how to kick a ball. I mean, we need to do that. Kenyans, tujichunge sana. Tujichunge sana.
Sawa sawa.
Jukumu ni letu.
We only pray that we are not beaten 5 and above.
Yeah.
Sad. Anyway, don't worry about being beaten 5 and above. That won't happen. We bring the curtains down on the show. At around 11:30, we're going to have Gatuzi looking at the county government and some of the things affecting them. And then at around 2 p.m., we are going to have the scoreboard, which is going to look at some of these matches. Ndio. Have yourself a lovely morning.